Thank you. It's good to be here again. I enjoyed the dinner last night. I hope you did. I think Rob must have bribed the wait staff because they kept filling my glass. I want to welcome my friend and brother Isaac Hina, who flew in from Liberia to be in the U.S. For the first time. And I think, I remember my first time in the U.S. and it was just an incredible moment. So it's been amazing watching him figuring out the escalators and stuff like that. And he'll kill me later on. I've come again to talk about Youth Action International and the possibility of really changing the entire continent of Africa by directing a lot of efforts at reaching young people who make the majority of the continent's population. It's work I've been doing for a long time in Liberia, starting in Liberia at 14. And when I came to the US for the first time, seeing that there was so much opportunities and resources and know-how and knowledge, I said, this is an opportunity to not start an organization that focuses exclusively on my home country, Liberia, because they'll just be taking everything from my people, but to focus on Africa as a whole. So when Youth Action International started, the vision was, how do we work to impact post-war African countries? Post-war African countries, because like you've seen in Haiti and you've seen in other places, when African countries are in the midst of war, that's when the cameras are focused on it. That's when everybody's paying attention. That's when the money's coming in. The moment the ceasefire happens, the moment the child soldiers are disarmed, the moment people lay down their guns, people turn their attention away. And it's almost as if we're saying to them, as long as you're fighting and killing each other, we will give you the money. But once you stop, well, we're going to where the action's happening now. So at Youth Action International, we focus on those countries that are coming out of war that need the support to rebuild and to restructure. And the three areas we focus in each country, and this is all the words you'll see in my PowerPoint slide, education, healthcare, economic empowerment. Those three areas are areas we think are crucial for the countries we work in. Healthcare, because so many families and mothers cannot even afford to send their kids to the hospital. And these are kids who are sick and dying, and it only needs a few dollars to make a difference in the lives of their children. Education, because of the war that has been fought, entire education systems have been destroyed. In Liberia, as I travel around the country, even as of a month ago, there were still schools with large numbers of children simply sitting on the floor. There were schools where teachers were simply not showing up, but students would be in the classrooms eager to learn. And so there is a need to rebuild that entire structure if countries like Liberia and Sierra Leone will ever truly rise again. And on economic empowerment, for the millions of people living in poor communities, slum communities, who really only need an opportunity, a small opportunity to break out, to bust out. And those are the three areas we focused on. Last year, it was an amazing moment for us. I think it's probably a fundraising marathon history. In 10 minutes, the group here were able to raise $50,000 for Youth Action International. I wasn't in the room at that point, and it blew my mind when Rob told me. I thought the guy was doing a prank on me. He said, we just raised $50,000 for you. And I was like, okay, Rob, yeah, you're. But it was an incredible moment. And we were able to take that resources and channel it to areas in our organization that we believe had a lot of potential, but that other people simply were not funding. One of the areas were our centers for women empowerment in both Liberia and Sierra Leone. We go into communities like Crow Bay, the one I just showed you, some of the poorest communities. In Crow Bay, there's 10,000 people, 8,500 of them are women. Very little opportunities there. But that was also, for us, one community that we could work with with a multiple-pronged approach and build that community and help it come out of poverty. So the women in Liberia and Sierra Leone who go into the program, about 600 women this year, are getting skills training, vocational training, counseling to help deal with the traumas of war. but are also at the end of it able to get a loan to start a business based on what they've been trained on. And for the women who are in this program, it is an incredible opportunity, both in Liberia and Sierra Leone, to start to make things. Actually, the shirt I'm wearing has been made from women in one of the centers in Sierra Leone, and I love it. Each time I put it, the girls go wild, so I mean, it's working. But incredible, incredible things that have happened. Now, with that grant, even though we said to Rob, listen, it will focus on Liberia and Sierra Leone and focus on the centers for women, but we also saw an opportunity to stretch that money even further. And I said to him, one of the things that's happening in Liberia is there's a lot of young people who are there, and if they knew the whole idea of being entrepreneurs and taking risks and finding opportunities, learning best practices from other places, the ideas would start to form. And that's what we need, young people developing and promoting these ideas from within, because African people are very strong. I mean, the whole concept, and we hear it all the time, of the people living on $1 a day, and it's like, you know, $1 a day, $1 a day. I think that in itself, that there's millions of people who are living and making that $1 a day work, it's incredible. How many of us in this room could live on $1 a day? I mean, Isaac came the other day and he bought a bottle of water and a donut in the airport, and they told him $7. He was like, geez, I'm not coming back here. But $1 a day, and people are making it work. But I'm saying that to say that if people are making $1 a day work, that says that these people are innovative by virtue of that. So imagine if they had more opportunities. Imagine if they had the opportunity to get more and put that into more places. A lot more good things would be happening across the continent. I love this photo, a young child looking in. And so many young people across the continent are trying to look in, are trying to see what opportunities are available. And what we wanted to do with the funding as well was to create an award for innovation. And in Liberia, we started to call young people to submit, to give ideas so that it would be promoted, that people who had great ideas would take that ideas, gave them the funding so that they would make their great ideas work, because young people were simply not being recognized for what they were doing. And as the ideas were coming in, they were trickling in very, very slowly. It wasn't impressive. And so we started to talk to young people in the rural communities and saying, why? Why is there, we're offering money for this grant, for your projects to be developed. Why are people not coming forward? And a lot of them said, listen, we've been in war for so long, our mindset has changed. There's just been years of people just giving us food aid and handout. We've gotten used to the easy stuff. You know, when I come in, I'm just a young guy. I'm not an NGO. They don't see a big Land Rover, so they're willing to be honest with me. And so they're like, we've just had years of aid, and our ideas, our thinking is just far behind. And so we started taking the idea of our centers and say, how do we do it on a massive scale? How do we reach thousands of young people at once? Not just the 600 women in the center, but thousands of young people in all of these communities, and bringing them these ideas of best practices that are happening in Colombia and India and Pakistan, because then the light bulbs will start going off. And the mind will start opening. And that's one of the things we've been doing for hundreds of teachers. Liberia's largest indoor teacher training, young women, young people doing computer training, people in villages and towns coming together and building these communities that are building this sense of everybody can be innovative and everybody can be an entrepreneur. Well, no speech is complete without some kind of self-promotion. And but no, the reason I show this is because in my work, people obviously see me and they see the face of me. But behind it are the people that I appreciate. And in youth action offices across Africa are young people who are really the driving force behind the work, who are doing the work day in and day out for very, very little pay.